Thanks for staying with us. You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Every November, individuals and health organizations around the world come together to observe Lung Cancer Awareness Month. The goal of Lung Cancer Awareness Month in 2025 is to bring increased attention to lung cancer, emphasizing the critical importance of low-dose computed tomography lung cancer screening, the link between early diagnosis and improved treatment outcomes, and the latest advances in treating this disease. For greater understanding of this subject matter, we're now being joined here in our beautiful Lagos studio by Professor Alero Robert, who's a consultant family health physician. In the same breath, we shall be learning a lot more from her, the message behind the 2025 World Diabetes Day. Good morning, Dr. Roberts. Good to have you join us in the studio, our beautiful studio, this beautiful
really
morning.
Impressed. Thank you for having me. And is there a job vacancy here? This is such a beautiful workplace.
We can work on something and create something.
Yes.
All right, thank you for joining us. Well, November is an important month. First, yesterday, November the 14th, was World Diabetes Day, I believe. And then this entire November is the Lung Cancer Awareness Month. These are important subject matters, as far as health and well-being of Nigerians, not only Nigerians, everybody is concerned. What are your thoughts about where we are as far as diabetes is concerned, on the one hand? And I know that you will still speak to us at length on the issue of lung cancer. How deadly is it? Is it a major problem in Nigeria? Now, are we dealing with it?
Why do you want to condense 6 years of medical school into a 20-minute interview on Arise TV? But seriously, they are both of great concern. And they are both of great concern for one simple reason. We don't have the health system that we require to deal with these issues. We're at a point where we're undergoing what we know as an epidemiological transition, i.e., we are a low and middle income country and we're transiting, that disease pattern is transitioning from the infectious diseases of malaria, HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis to the non-communicable diseases of which cancer, diabetes, hypertension, mental health form a major part. And so we're dealing literally, we're the sandwich population, sandwich generation. We've got the infectious diseases on the one hand, the non-communicables on the other hand. And the issue that we have is that for a lot of people, we need to do screening. We need to be able to screen people. And when we screen them, if we find anything, we need to signpost them to working health systems. Where do they access health care? So these are the issues that for the Association of Public Health Physicians, on whose platform you've invited me, these are the issues that are really very important to us. So yes, you can talk about lung cancer, you can talk about World Diabetes Day yesterday. It's just a day. The issues that preceded that day, the issues that are coming up today, tomorrow, and going forward still exist. So that's what we need to talk about.
Let's talk about diabetes, because if we're talking about the rise of non-communicable diseases, I think diabetes and hypertension really go hand in hand, and they're creating a huge burden in Nigeria. I did a report called Diabetes, the Silent Killer, because it seems that with our change in lifestyle and our change in diet and the lack of public health infrastructure, we're ill-equipped to deal with what can be seen as a huge crisis in Nigeria with diabetes. So I want you to give us a little bit of insight with how significant World Diabetes Day is and how significant the crisis of diabetes in Nigeria is.
Well, thank you. It is, you're right. It is an unseen and very disturbing epidemic that we're dealing with. And, the theme of the World Diabetes Day was diabetes through the life stages, which means that from cradle to grave, you have impacts. So yes, we can talk about the 3 types of diabetes, but honestly, if you wanted a lecture on diabetes, you would have called an endocrinologist. So I shall give you the part that affects each and every one as common day-to-day Lagosians, Nigerians walking the street. Can I get it? How does it affect me? What can I do to prevent it? Where do I go if I have it? So can I get it? Yes, there's type 1 and type 2. And everybody is at risk of diabetes because, as you said, lifestyle changes. Diet changes. We're now eating more processed foods, packaged foods. Lifestyle changes in form of we're not doing the kind of physical activity we need to be doing. And that's a whole lot. We need to be doing at least 150 minutes a week of dedicated physical activity, which makes you sweat and leaves you slightly breathless. You can't conduct a conversation. We're eating too much processed packaged foods. We're looking at convenience foods. And when we say fast foods, please don't just think of the hamburger, chips, and soft drinks. No, think of the fact that we're eating foods that even Mama puts. Because for her to make her food so tasty that you would keep coming back to buy it, what is she adding? Loads of salt and sugar. Those are the things that are dangerous and inimical. We're looking at our weight changes. None of us are keeping to our, what should be our ideal weights in terms of
BMI and stuff like that.
In terms of the body mass index, in terms of stuff like that. And this is happening right from childhood. And that's the scary part because, like I said, I'm very involved in primary school education, and I look at primary school children, and I'm looking with alarm at the number of primary school children who are clearly overweight, because an overweight child is an overweight adolescent, is an overweight adult, is type 2 diabetes in the making, is hypertension in the making. What we are not seeing, what the common man is not seeing that we are seeing in the hospitals is the kidney failure, is the liver damage. And these are things that, for most Nigerians, access to care is already shaky at best. Now, imagine you need long-term care because of kidney damage, because of liver damage. What do you now do? We're seeing so many leg ulcers, the chronic leg ulcers that lead to diabetic amputations, happening in younger and younger people. When I say younger and younger people, late 30s, early 40s, younger. Not the 60s and 70s that we were used to seeing. So we're seeing people who should be hardworking Nigerians contributing to the national development now being affected. And the problem with diabetes, a lot of people don't realize, is that the damage has started long before the diagnosis is made. Because that high sugar is damaging everything that the tiny blood vessels need to supply. The brain, the eyes, the heart, the kidneys, the lower limbs, those tiny, tiny blood vessels you learn about in primary school, which, by the way, there's an indigenous language word for that.
For which one?
Microvasculature. Sorry.
But is that diabetes is often seen as a disease of the affluent?
That is the joke of the matter. It is not a disease of the affluent. It's a disease of the careless. More and more people are eating more and more processed and packaged foods laden with things that damage the body.
Is it a sugar problem?
It's not only a sugar problem. Now, let's put that in context. The actual physiological problem is high blood sugar.
Okay.
Everything we eat is broken down to sugar, the glucose. Everything we eat, the ultimate end point is the glucose. If glucose in the level sugar in the blood rises up too high, it starts to cause damage. Okay? So it's not the sugar you eat that you add to your tea and coffee, that you buy in cubes or packages per se. Everything you eat is going to be broken down to sugar. So the fact of the matter is that, your diet, if it's laden, and there's a lot of hidden sugar in the food we eat. Particularly in things like tomato sauces and tinned corn and ketchup. Things that normally you wouldn't think contain sugar, actually contain a lot of sugar. So that's one. Then we're eating a lot of fried foods. Yes, all of us today is Saturday, you're all going to go to a party. And there's going to be that. And there's going to be small chops. Am I right? Am I wrong? Fried. Everything fried. Incredibly tasty, don't get me wrong. I'm also an addict. But
you're an addict too.
Oh, definitely. Who isn't? Raise your hand if you're not an addict of small chops. But quantity. Because the problem is that the addiction is that the more you eat, the more you want to eat. So it's a problem of everybody, not just the affluent. The affluent get it faster because they can afford to eat more. But everybody is at risk, and that's the part that really we need to hammer out.
It sounds to me like if we spend more time working on what we eat and then what we do with our body in terms of exercise, it looks like 50% of these issues might just be dealt with easily.
I would go as high as 75%, sir. I would go as high as 75%. We are what we eat and we are what we do. That's just the bottom line. And that's the message we need to get out to people. We are definitely what we eat and we are definitely what we do.
The exercise part that is now invoked today, will you say that the farming of the
was
ages
much
part
better.
was
much better because that involved the bending, the flexing, the weightlifting and everything. So I know I'm going to make enemies right now. All the gym owners are going to, you don't need to buy a gym membership.
You don't need to.
You don't need
You need to walk, I think.
You need to walk.
Because it has
you
become,
need to
it
climb
has become
stairs.
like a fad.
Yes, no,
Everybody.
because that's what people do. They buy the gym membership and assume that owning the gym card is going to lose them the weight. No, you've got to put in the work. So, just simply deciding that, you know what, I'm going to leave the house 2 hours earlier than usual and I'm going to walk all the way to work, even if walking all the way to work means a 10 to 12 kilometer hike.
I don't think a lot of people are going to want to do that in this environment.
Well, the alternative,
many
of
people
course,
actually do that,
But
don't
they
they?
do, yes, they do
those that
do
are
that,
not like
yes,
in estate,
yes,
that's
Yeah.
what they do every day, isn't
yes,
it?
but yes, they do. Yes, and that's why you find that, like you said, it's a disease of the affluent. You're sitting, like you said, in your air-conditioned car, from your air-conditioned house, your air-conditioned office, you're chauffeur-driven, and you think you're doing a lot of work because you're working on your tablet or your phone while you're being driven around, and you're killing yourself. Worse still, you're killing your children. And if they don't die quickly, you're putting them in a lot of trouble because they are going to have to spend their resources later on in life looking after you. The saddest thing in the world is when I have to counsel families whose loved one has to have a below-knee amputation because of a diabetic leg ulcer. It is heartbreaking because it is so utterly preventable.
Dr. Roberts, I would like you to speak about lung cancer too, because there's a whole month dedicated to it. How much of it is a man's thing and how much of it is linked to smoking?
Very, very good question. And the oncologists are going to have my hide for this, but I would say it is equal, male, female. And no, it's not always just linked to smoking. Smoking does have a huge part to play. The passive smoking is even worse because the person feels, I don't smoke. But you work in an environment or you are traveling in an environment or you're living in an environment where there's a lot of smoking going on. And smoking is not just the cigarette smoking. There's the kerosene cooking, there's the firewood cooking, there's the roasting and smoking of stuff. So and then of course you've got lung cancer because you've got metastases from other primary cancers. So that's why it is necessary to dedicate a whole month to it, because the problem is that people just feel that, oh, I don't smoke, I'm not at risk. That's one that I can tick that off and I don't need to. It is very important to go for screening. So coming back, birthday screening.
Birthday screening?
Birthday screening. Give yourself a birthday present.
And screen yourself?
Every birthday.
From what age?
As soon as you can, actually.
But you know the fear of maybe it's an African thing. They're like, oh, they will find something anyway, so why expose yourself to...
Because if we do find something and it's utterly and completely preventable, why would you live with it and then suffer the consequences thereof?
You know, I want to ask about this. I grew up with a diabetic grandfather. We were just talking about my grandparents earlier. I grew up with them. And so I'm very conscious of diabetes. And I know if you've had family members that have diabetes, you're predisposed to it. You have to be more careful, correct? Yes. But I also want to ask, because I know you have a conference coming up and it has to do with healthcare delivery in the Global South. This is what
we're really concerned about, because God forbid you now discover that, oh, I am actually pre-diabetic, I've got a family history, BMI is out of whack. Where are you going to go? How much can you afford? And these are the things that you will probably say, are you insured? Alero is there. A lot of states are doing state insurance packages, which is fantastic. My issue still comes back to what we're talking about at the conference, strengthening the health system. And remember that the health system is from cleaner to clinician. Everything and everybody, not just doctors and nurses.
Where is the conference and when?
3rd and 4th of December here in Lagos, in Ikeja. That's the Lagos State chapter of the association. And we are having a lot of exciting conversations about this. And the good thing is that I think we're in a good space nationally to be able to really drill down and strengthen our health systems on this. But we do need that handshake. The public have to hold us accountable. The public have to step up to the plate. There is simply no point if we try and put everything in place and nobody takes up health insurance. And then you appear in the hospital with a devastating disease and no funds to pay for it. So there has to be that. And that's why we're really conscious about this whole...
I like this part of the discussion that you mentioned, particularly the Alero and what government or authorities might be doing. And that's an area that I'm interested in. Do you think that we are doing enough, either at the federal level or state level? Health, like education, after security, ought to be like the top 3 when it comes to, responsibilities of government. Are we doing enough?
A very famous Chinese philosopher once said the longest journey begins with what? The first step.
The first step.
You cannot from the first step determine how long the journey is going to be. You cannot from the first step determine how many steps you're going to have to use. We have taken the first step. But that first step, we have to do it hand in hand. Government can put in all the policies that they wish. And believe you me, Nigerian government, there's no policy that you possibly need in health or education that we have not signed up to. But if we don't have citizens rising up to take their place, it's not going to work. A policy is only as good as the paper is written on. So we need people to buy the insurance. Come and pay for your insurance. Don't say, why should I? Why should I? God forbid, it's not my portion. No, that is not going to help you right now. We need Nigerians to step up to the plate. And when you pay for your insurance, hold everybody concerned accountable. I've paid for this thing. Nobody goes to market and gives the pepper seller money and then goes away without picking up their pepper. And before you pick up your pepper, you've inspected every single pepper to make sure that you're not picking up. Nobody does that. So don't do that with health insurance either. Don't do that with your state government, even your local government. Hold them accountable. I'm just coming from a local government. I dare not mention the name, but oh boy, was I impressed. Needless to say, the chairman is a woman.
What impressed you there?
Cleanliness.
Oh.
Cleanliness.
In Lagos here, I believe.
Oh boy.
Why wouldn't you celebrate the person? Celebrate her.
Honorable Amokpe Adedeji, Bariga LCD.
Wow.
As in, you need to go there and take a look. And the primary healthcare centers, you should see them.
Wow.
They are beautiful. And beautiful. Takes a lot to impress me. I sat there and I was like, whoa. You got to the LCDA, the way we were greeted. I mean, I expect to be greeted nicely. I am who I am. But I was sitting, listening, and nobody walks in bathroom slippers and is treated exactly the same way.
Wow.
I was impressed.
Wow.
I am impressed.
That's a good one.
So when you've got people, and this is people holding her accountable, she's holding them accountable. There's that handshake going on. They're working together. They're working together with their refuse collectors, with their healthcare service deliverers. They were in the middle of the polio outbreak response thing, and everybody is working together. Now that kind of handshake is not just a handshake. It's like, if you don't do your job, it's going to reflect badly on me. So I'm going to hold you accountable to do your job. And you're going to do that job not just because people are watching. You're going to do that job even if nobody is watching. And that's what we need the civil population to rise up to. Hold us accountable.
How important is cleanliness of the environment for health outcomes?
Cleanliness is next to godliness. There's a reason that is a saying, is more than just a saying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely vitally important, not just because we reduce the transmission of diseases, preventable diseases, but also because it engages that consciousness of what is right to do, of what is acceptable to do. So I'm looking at this campaign, for example, of public urination and defecation. You know, we let it go for so long that I'm seeing mothers encourage their children into what is essentially ought to be socially unacceptable behavior. So that cleanliness whole thing, because I looked at the whole of that LCD and I was like, wow, I was looking down side streets and I was impressed. You know, it wasn't just the main road, it was even the side streets, even the markets, everybody. And you can see that consciousness. So with that consciousness, when you tell people, wash your hands before and after, you tell people, women particularly, don't put a handbag on the table that you're going to use to eat food, you know. Immediately you come in, wash your hands and that sort of thing. You're telling people, you know, be tidy, be clean. It gives them a consciousness. It trains children up, first of all, and gives everybody that consciousness of what the right thing is to do to be able to prevent transmission of illness.
All right, I just will ask a question for you, but I'll quickly put in one just before she asks her question. And I'd like to ask, you know, not just for you as a professional, but for you as a human being. Cancer, diabetes, etc. What we hear is that there's no cure, but that they can be managed. Hypertension, stuff like that. But then when you look at where the world has developed to in terms of science, a world where phones can basically read everything about you, a world where destructive machines can identify the location of an enemy several miles away and take that person out without, you know, a world where we can move from here to outer space. We're thinking of the moon. And so science has developed to a level that you can say that God has made smaller gods of human beings. But then when it comes to certain diseases, we can't find cures. All we can find are palliatives to manage them. Are you satisfied that this is real and ideal, or are we, as human beings, not being spoken to truthfully because maybe some people want to make profit out of what is going on? Are you convinced that where science is today, we will still be dealing with a few diseases that there's no cure for?
Wow, this is PhD philosophy level.
I apologize, Prof,
but you are very correct. So I'll start with typical Nigerian fashion counter question: define cure. That's number one.
Define cure.
Define the cure. So what does cure mean to you? Number one. Number two, you are right. And the issue is that there are going to be diseases for which there is a cure, a disease we've completely eradicated, i.e. smallpox, and we're close to eradicating polio. But we have now got more diseases. We've got COVID-19 that came and swept us all off our feet. So the issue is that at a point, we've got to accept that the one disease we have we cannot cure is life. Anybody that is born of a woman is going to die. It's simply a question of when and how. Because we've got diseases such as trauma, we've got diseases such as road traffic accidents, we've got diseases such as security, conflict. And these are all things that have risk factors, have mitigating factors, have treatment strategies, and are you managing or curing? So yes, you can cure most headaches, except if it's a glioblastoma. That's a particularly nasty brain cancer that you cannot cure. But the cure may be you slip quietly out of this world and into the next pain-free world. So define cure. That's number one. Science is definitely progressing, and the speed at which it's progressing is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, there's been more knowledge in the last 5 years than has been in the 50 years preceding the last 5 years. That explosion of knowledge is absolutely phenomenal. And with that is going to come countless problems, because the minute you cure a disease, we manufacture another one. And these are the issues. Are we being told the truth? Yes and no. Anybody can only tell you the truth as they understand it. It may be a complete lie. They just didn't know it.
I want to ask about the rise of anti-vaxxers, because you spoke about eradication of smallpox. In America, I think measles was practically eradicated, but they've had the worst outbreak in a couple of decades recently. It seems that as we're progressing, we're regressing.
The truth of the matter is, and this is my truth, so please interpret it from everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And opinions are formed of knowledge, and information. Knowledge is gained from information. So we saw this particularly, we had our own version of it when the COVID vaccine came out, and everybody was like, don't take the vaccine, you'll grow horns, spoons will stick to your skin, this will happen, that will happen. It is true, people had... So the issue is that we need to engage people. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So if you don't want to take a vaccine, honestly, I don't have a problem with you. The outcome of it will be yours and yours alone.
To deal with.
The issue will come for me when your decision not to take a vaccine or some other whatever is going to impact on the public good. So if your child is coming to my school, and I insist that every child in my school must be vaccinated to protect another child who, for reasons that the child is not to blame for, some congenital, cannot take a vaccine, I need a herd immunity around that child. You cannot consciously, deliberately bring your unimmunized child into that school because you are going to cause a danger for the one who cannot, not will not, but cannot take the vaccine. So we had a lot of that. And therefore, that's why we insist in all the preschool enrollments that children have to have their full complement of vaccinations. We are still battling with tuberculosis, for instance. Yeah. And we have the highest rate of multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. So you cannot bring a person who is not immunized into a community of vulnerable children simply because I don't believe in the tuberculosis vaccine.
So, global health under threat. That's the topic for your conference.
Yes.
I think a lot of people probably want to
hear the communique that comes out of that conference.
Yes.
Global health is under threat. Yes, it's definitely under threat. I tend to have a very...
I hope the threat is not coming from the number one country in the world.
Is it misinformation?
It is largely there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of weakening of the health systems, and this is globally, not just here. I mean, here we have Japa, but over there they've got a break. When I heard yesterday that resident doctors in the UK went on strike.
You know? Why did they have to do that at the same time that ours?
Ours are on strike. I mean, are they copying us?
Dr. Alero Roberts, we want to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show today.
You're
it's
very
been a
welcome.
beautiful conversation.
Thank you
Much for having me.
You've definitely made the studio brighter.
Absolutely.